Air patrolling done in Uzbekistan's Samarkand, the head of the Shanghai Cooperation Organisation Summit starting today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in Samarkand to attend the 22nd meeting of the Council of Heads of State of the SCO. You can see images over there, of course, of the air patrolling which is happening because top leaders of various nations are present in Samarkand, and that summit, that very crucial summit, is in fact going to begin very shortly. There will be a restricted session followed by a rather larger session at the summit. There will also be bilateral meetings that will happen. So a restricted session, an extended session and bilateral meetings that are likely to happen. Prime Minister Modi earlier there on your screens arrived in Samarkand, Uzbekistan late last evening. He is also expected to have bilateral meetings with Russian President Vladimir Putin, as well as the Iranian president, as well as the Uzbek leadership. Uzbekistan, remember, is the chair of the SCO this year. India will be assuming the chairship next year when India will be hosting the SCO Summit. All eyes, of course, on a possible meeting between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping. Could that possibly happen? Those details haven't been shared yet by either side, so it is a matter of speculation at the moment, but it's possible that they could exchange a few words at that restricted session, which is scheduled to begin in a short while from now. And because the top leadership of nations like India, China, Russia, Iran, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and others are present right now in Samarkand, air patrolling obviously happening. There's a heightened level of security which has been, of course, placed as far as this summit is concerned. An extremely crucial grouping, this, the SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. This bloc is extremely crucial, and all eyes are on the big takeaways that will emerge from this summit. Now, let's take you through some of the details about the SCO and what the SCO actually is all about. Now, SCO, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, was founded with 6 member states. It started with China, Russia, Central Asian countries, and then India and Pakistan were admitted as full members in 2017. It's the world's largest regional organization. It covers 60% land area in Asia, Europe. Now, it is also home to over 40% of the world population, and hence the SCO grouping, that bloc, is extremely critical. 30% of the world's GDP is accounted by the member states of the SCO. So extremely crucial bloc, and the West will be watching the summit very closely. My colleague, Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan, is reporting live from Samarkand at the moment. Geeta, all eyes on Modi-Xi, in fact, sharing stage after the Ladakh standoff. Will they or won't they meet? That's the big question everyone is asking. What have you learned?
Well, that certainly today is a million-dollar question. Will the two leaders meet or not? Now, we do know that the Gogra hot spring disengagement does set the tone and tenor and creates an atmosphere for the two leaders to at least acknowledge each other. There is no confirmation from either side whether if there is going to be a meeting, since there is no structured bilateral meeting that has been planned between the two leaders. But when they are in a room, given that disengagement in a very critical area has been completed, yet there are other areas, particularly Depsang, Demchok, which is a huge concern for India. So if they're in a room, at least the atmosphere has been created for them not to look away, at least maybe shake hands or have a brief conversation. We're given to understand that if that happens, Prime Minister Modi is going to emphasize on the fact that border tensions have to be reduced. There has to be disengagement, de-escalation and de-induction of the Chinese troops in areas that were earlier controlled by the Indian side. And on the other hand, the Chinese president could raise concerns with regards to restrictions imposed by India on Chinese apps as also Chinese telecom companies. But again, this is all in the realm realm of speculation. We'll have to wait and see when the two leaders come face to face. This is the first time that the Chinese president has stepped out of China, but also the first time that the Chinese president and the Indian premier will come face to face since the Galwan clashes.
Geeta, also about the Modi-Putin bilateral, which is scheduled to happen later today, at least that stands confirmed. What can we expect from that?
In Samarkand, for India, the Putin-Modi meet is going to be one of the most crucial meetings. It comes at a time when Russia and Ukraine are still at war, and the energy and food crisis is something that the world is grappling with. And in that, India has made her position very clear, not just to the West, but to various other countries, that it will only look at Indian interests first, and then have a conversation about the issues at hand. While India has been pressing Russia to look at a diplomatic way to solve the current Russia-Ukraine crisis, that come to the talking table, that is something that India has advocated. Doesn't take away from the fact that conversations on energy are going to continue. Connectivity, energy and food security are areas that certainly are going to be focus areas when Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Xi Jinping meet. We know that this entire SCO meet has in many ways been looked through the prism of dictators of the region, axis of evil, or for that matter countries that are anti-West. But frankly speaking, the dialogue partners who are going to be inducted or are looking at this forum are countries like Saudi Arabia, a strategic partner of America. So can't call it completely anti-West, and that's the reason why India